Once the glue is dried and everything's put together, you've got your frame. Now it's time to start making the top. So what you're going to want to do, you're going to want to watch the video edge-to-edge lamination, making a solid wood panel. And also watch edge-to-edge lamination, how to glue up a solid panel. But you're going to need some measurements here. So I want you to do a drawing. I'll do it in felt pen so it's easy for you guys to see. I want you to draw just a simple rectangle like that. Then I want you to put in extension and dimension lines with no dimensions yet. So it should look like that. Now, the reason we want that, this is where most people make their mistake, is they don't make their top big enough, and that's a problem. If it's too big, that's a little easier to fix, but if it's too small, that's tougher to fix. So, when we're building tops, typically we always want some sort of overhang. In this case, we want a 3/4 inch overhang all the way around. So, you have to measure from the outside of your leg to the outside of the other leg, and then this way as well. So lengthwise, I have 22 inches. I need 3/4 of an inch overhanging over here for the top and 3/4 of an inch over here. So 22 plus 3/4 plus 3/4 equals 23.5. Okay? If you want to simplify that, 3/4 plus 3/4 is 1.5 inches plus 22 inches. Okay? That's 23.5. So in my case, I want my finished size 23.5. So I write that in. And then we have to do it the other way. I have 18. 18 plus 1.5 inches is 19.5. So we write that in. So you should be showing me something like this before you start doing any cutting. Now, don't cut them to this exact length. We have to rough size them. So let's cut them a 1/2 inch longer or a centimeter longer. So we need to cut these to 24 inches. Okay, that's our rough cut. So rough cut, 24 inches for mine. And I want, everybody's are going to be a little bit different. So you write this down for your own. Okay, don't trust mine. Mine might not be the same as yours. Okay, and you're going to need to cut 6 pieces, 24 inches long. So you're going to have 6 pieces at, so 6 pieces at 24 inches, your rough cut. Okay, that's what I want to see before you do any cutting. Once you've shown me that, then go grab a 2x4 from the storeroom, or maybe you'll need a couple, and you need to cut 6 pieces. Okay, that's your next step, and then you're going to mill these up, and we're going to have nice square pieces, and we're going to be over width, and we're going to be over length, and that's good. Okay, so go ahead and measure, do your drawing, show me your drawing, and then you will mill up 6 2x4s, whatever length you have determined for your rough length, which I have checked. Don't cut before I check that length. Okay, again, I've said that in the past we've had lots of problems with this, so we have to do this very carefully. Once you've watched edge-to-edge lamination, making a solid wood panel, and the other one, edge-to-edge lamination, how to glue up a solid wood panel, you will have had the proper video to prepare your top. So here's my top. It's all rough right now. It hasn't been planed, hasn't been cut to length, hasn't been cut to width. It's over length and it's over width, and that's what you want. Then we're going to plane it and square it up to our dimension sizes. So that's the next step. Let's get this top all milled up. Okay, the panel has been planed down, top and bottom, so it's nice and smooth, no glue, everything's looking good. Now we have to cut it to our finished width. So, I just have to take a little bit off of mine. I'm not going to do it right now, but make sure if you're using this saw on this side, turn the dust collector on. And let's go ahead and cut. Make sure you have your left hand position there, your right hand roughly in the middle of your panel, and your fingers on top. That way you get a nice wide grip. There we go. Cut to width, and now we're going to cut it to length. Okay, it's time to cut to length. So, mark a square, well, you don't even have to mark a square line on this end actually. Just line it up with your gap in the crosscut sled, just so there's none of the gap showing. Move these out of the way. And we'll cut this right away here. Okay, lined up. Again, none of the gap, or what's called the saw kerf, is showing from the crosscut sled. It's all covered, which means we're going to get a straight end. So, fire it up here. Blade height's already been set. Trim that off so we have a nice straight end. Wait for the blade to stop. Get rid of this. Okay, now we have to mark it to our finished length. So, mark it. And then mark it with a square as well. It'll be much easier for you guys to line up, because you have to line it up right to the blade. There we go. That's our X side, of course. Line it up to the blade. If you're not tall enough to do this, just come around and line it up from the back of the saw over here. Turn it on. And let's cut the length. All right, there you have your tabletop all planed, cut to width, and now cut to length, and it's ready to screw onto the table frame. To screw the top onto the frame, we're going to use what are called pocket holes. They've been around for a long time. What you're going to need to grab a drill and grab the pocket hole jig. It's in the little gray suitcase in the hand tools cabinet. So grab that. It's this thing right here, and it comes with two bits, a drill bit and a screw tip that are kept in there. Also grab the number 8 by 1¼ inch pan head screws. I'll show you these in a second. And a ruler and a square, which you always kind of need. So once you gather those, then we can go ahead and start drilling the holes in the frame. We're not going to drill the holes in the top, but we're going to drill them into the frame. So before you use the jig, put the bit into the drill. Grab the Kreg jig, the pocket hole jig. Kreg is the brand name. No, it's not my first name. It's spelled differently. I wish I invented this. Take this, clamp, oh, a little tight, clamp the jig right up against the leg. Grab the drill. Make sure you're on speed 2 and the drill icon. Now, we want to go in and out of here a bunch of times just because the sawdust is captive. So get your drill running and you drill in right to the depth stop. Then take it off and you will see that you have just drilled a pocket hole. And that's how we're going to fasten the top. So we need to do those where it says in the book, where it's assigned to drill those in. Okay, we'll keep drilling these. I'll just go through this part fast. All right, so you've drilled all the 4 holes in your frame. So now you want to use 1¼ pan head screws. They're a little different, not just the color, but they have more of a pan shaped head here. They don't have angles on the underside of that head. That's the ones you're looking for. We usually keep them in a little box like this. Just ask me for them if you need them. Okay? So grab the Robertson bit, works better with the long one. Put it in, set your drill on its weakest and on its slowest. So put the pan head screw in and screw it in snug. There you go, top's attached. I recommend that you put a routered edge on your tabletop. So I'm just going to show you how to put a bit in. So we have a whole variety of these bits. These are 1/2 inch shank. We have what's called a 1/2 inch collet. That's that piece right in there that holds on to the bit. So you have to kind of get your fingers in the window and open this up. Okay, that should be good. Then put the bit in. Sometimes they fit a little more snug than others. You have to push down on them. Tighten this up. I like to work through the front window. I'll turn this so you guys can see it. Like that. Then, once you have it finger tight, then you have to tighten it up with the wrenches. Okay. I will always check this for you just to make sure it's tight enough. And then we want to set the depth. We typically do this by eye. So it's this clip back here. And you rotate the body and the bit goes in or out. So just do it by eye. If there's a shoulder in a bit, which is a transition area, don't do the shoulder right off the bat. In this case, I'm not going to do the shoulder at all. Close that down. Your bit's ready to go. Get plugged in. Get your table clamped in place, and we can route it. Okay, so pick up your router. You want to actually be looking at the front. The front has the brand on it, Porter cable. The back is where the adjustment clip is. So you want to be looking at the front of the router. Put it flat onto your table, flat down onto here, but don't allow the bit to touch the wood. We want it to be a little bit away so that when we start it, it doesn't hit the wood. We want it to get up to full speed before we start cutting. So I'll start back here a little bit, turn it on, into the wood, and then start going around. Look through the window so you see the corner. Now on this end, that's as far as I can go right now because I'm running into the clamps. So I'm just going to put the router aside, flip my table around, and finish off routering the two ends and the one long edge. And that's routering.